Hello, everybody. Another podcast.
Yay!
You're listening to the squared circle button. Squared? The squared circle button.
Squirreled? Are we squirrels now?
Yep, changing our name.
Okay.
It's better for the marketing, really.
Can I be Sandy?
No.
Oh. Darn it.
Anyway, it's been a little bit since our last podcast, but we found a good lazy Sunday to sit down and drink some coffee and talk about stuff. I haven't been doing a lot since the last one, but I'll tell you what I have been doing.
Except Dark Souls. That's pretty much been your life.
You spoiled it.
Oh, darn.
Anyway.
Talked about it last time, so how's it spoiling
You're not
it?
Supposed to leave people in suspense. Jeez.
Oh, whatever.
God.
I'm sorry, I failed.
All right, do over. 1, 2, 3. All right, everyone. This is the real podcast. Please disregard everything you've heard so far. Yeah. So, suppose I should say what I've been playing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Start off. I've been playing this game. I don't know. It might be kind of obscure. I don't know if people have really heard of it. It's the third game in the series. I mean, it's kind of popular with some people, but
Such a damn hipster.
I mean,
God. People
may not know about it. But it's this game, Dark Souls, I think it's called. It's some game from this little developer called From Software. I don't know if people have heard of them, but anyway, yeah.
Such a hipster.
That's what I've been playing.
Such a hipster.
Lots and lots of Dark Souls. Still haven't beaten it.
Lots and lots of yelling as well.
For those that want to know, I think I've... I should have checked my actual game time. I think I'm like 30-some hours in, and I'm like level 62, and I haven't beaten it yet.
There's lots of yelling. I know that much.
There only has been this morning because I lost like 60,000 souls.
That's not true. You were yelling the last time you were playing, too.
I can't remember why I did that, but...
To be fair, I don't really pay attention when you play this game because I don't really care for it. So the only time I know you're playing it
sounds like
is if I hear you yelling.
Somebody doesn't praise the sun.
No, I do not.
I think that's a problem. We're going to have to fix that.
Okay.
Have you ever thought of praising the sun?
Not really.
Well, let me introduce you to a friend of mine, Solaire. He'll tell you all about it. You join the Sunlight Covenant, then you can praise the sun and help people co-op through Dark Souls bosses.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Then you will truly praise the sun. Yeah. So I've been playing a lot of Dark Souls, obviously. I really like the game. I think I mentioned it on the last podcast, but it's still going strong. I'm getting into some tougher areas now. For those that are playing, maybe they can relate. I'm kind of around the Irithyll region right now. That shouldn't be too much of a spoiler, but I think if people have gotten there, they should know what it looks like and everything. I was kind of lost for a while, and so I had to backtrack and look for other areas. I get lost in these games pretty easily. Sometimes they're designed in a way where you might miss an entire path completely. It's very easy to do. So that happens to me. It's happened to me a couple times already, in this one especially. Having a lot of fun with it though. I got invaded this morning, and that's when I got really mad because this guy was... I had him, and then he healed up. I had him again, and he healed up again. And then he hit me with his big katana sword thing and broke my block, and then did I don't know what you would call it, but did like a finishing move on me. Hit me like 3 times with that animation, and then it just kills you pretty much. It's a one-hit kill. So I got pretty mad at that. But hey, I got my souls back that time at least. I had like 50,000. But then, actually no, that was part of the stuff I missed this morning when I was playing. I couldn't get to a bonfire yet, and I got killed by something else. I don't remember. I was trying to like retrieve them from the last time I died, and then I died again, and super frustrating just because it doesn't happen that often to me. I usually can recover my souls, but...
Did I hear you throw the controller, or did you just drop it? I'm not sure what happened there.
I dropped it with style.
Okay. Like a mic drop? Just the controller?
Yeah, except you do it when you're pissed off.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I don't usually do that, but yeah. I try not to do that anymore. I used to do it a lot more, but the game is still very fun, though.
It's funny to hear you.
Frustrating.
It's so funny to hear you complain about how frustrating it is, and to hear you yell about it and drop the controller with style, and then you're like, but it's still fun.
The games are like, it's like the whole, what is that called? I can't think of words today. You know what I'm talking about? Where the prisoners like feel empathy for their captors. That
Stockholm Syndrome?
Stockholm Syndrome. That's what Dark Souls is like.
Oh. All right.
It beats you down, but you're like, I love this. Please give me more. Maybe that's different. Maybe that's like masochism, I guess.
Are you a masochist?
In some ways, I guess.
Trust me, I am too. I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan.
Not really. I mean, not normally, but Dark Souls is that one game that scratches that itch for me, really.
I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan, so I know all about masochism.
But if you're not playing Dark Souls 3, I don't know what you're playing. So that's what I have to say.
That started out as a, if you're not playing this, you, and then
no, I'm not going to insult people.
Off.
They can play what games they want to play.
Well, not insulting them, just like, you better play this game. It started off as that, and then it just tailed
I know, it's
off.
a game. It's the kind of game that some people don't really... They play it and then they see the potential, but then they just can't be bothered to put in the time to get good scrub.
It's like me. I watch you play more than half your games, but Dark Souls I couldn't care less about.
I guess it is more about the gameplay. It doesn't hand you the story on a silver platter like most other games do.
I like that, though.
Yeah, I know. Those usually make for better watching. But anyway, it is Dark Souls.
Oh.
Lots of callbacks to the first game, actually, too.
I was watching Paximania 2, and speaking of Dark Souls, they had a tag team tournament, and it was the Jeff Green Memorial Tag Team Tournament.
Nice.
And they're like, Jeff Green's not dead. He's still alive, but yeah.
Jeff Green's awesome. Speaking of which, he was the reason I got back into the original Dark Souls after not playing it for a long time. He was streaming it, and he's like in his 50s.
And he's funny.
Yeah, he's super funny. He used to work for like computer gaming magazines and stuff. I don't know what he's doing now, but yeah, he had a stream where he'd go through Dark Souls, and he was not the best at it to start out with, but he just kept going, pushing through, and it kind of inspired me to go back and play through Dark Souls.
And he makes me actually want to pay attention to it because he's freaking hilarious.
I know. So props to Jeff Green. He's great. Yeah, he's got his own Twitch channel. I think it's called Green Speak. That's the same as his Twitter handle. Yeah, I think he still plays the Souls games. He might be playing Dark Souls 3 right now, actually.
But yes, if he ever listens to this or has any way of listening to this, you make me care about Dark Souls, and I don't care about Dark Souls. So good job.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll move on from Dark Souls. I just had to get that out, I suppose. The other game I've been playing, I played a little bit of last night. It was a game that I actually saw at PAX South this year in January. For people that are into card-based, I guess CCGs, collectible card games, the digital kind. There's this game called Eternal, and it's kind of got the Hearthstone vibe to it. However, it plays more like actual Magic: The Gathering.
I thought those cards looked familiar.
Yeah, it's got like this a very similar interface to Hearthstone, but it's the rule set is actually more close to Magic in just the way the combat works and stuff like that. I won't describe the whole thing, but it's just think of like if Hearthstone were more like Magic, that's pretty much what Eternal is like. So I played a little bit of that last night. It's in closed beta, I think. So they finally were sending out keys, I think like a couple weeks ago. So I finally got around to downloading it and playing a little bit of it. It was fun. It still feels a little rough around the edges, and I can see the potential, though. They're adding a lot of stuff right out of the gate, it looks like. They got different modes for like drafts and stuff like that. They actually say drafts for one of the online ladders or something like that. And they have a ranked ladder, it looks like, too. I didn't get into those yet, but I'm currently just playing campaign missions against the AI. The AI seem to be kind of a one-trick pony a lot of times, where they won't attack until they have like a clear advantage. They don't really take a lot of risks, it seems. So I use that against them, kind of. I had a deck that was good for... I had a specific card, actually, that helped me out with it. I just kept building up more minions and not attacking, because once you attack, you leave yourself open. People that play those games can kind of relate, but a lot of the matches I just ended up winning. There's a card that I could place down that at the beginning of your turn, you can choose to turn a minion of yours on your side into a 5/5 dragon. So I kept using that card, and I just kept building up until I had like some flyers that I could, attack with and stuff, and just whittle them down. And then once I knew I could deal lethal damage, I pretty much just went all out and won the match. So for doing those missions, I got some coins. Or actually, no, that one was a draft, a single player draft type of thing. That's the one I was playing a lot of last night. And you just play a bunch of matches. I think there's like 8 or 10 total. But you can lose once, but once you lose twice, you're out. So the more of those you win, you get higher rewards. But if you lose twice, then you quit. I think I made it to like the second to last one and ended up losing. But I got some like coins that you can use to spend on stuff. I didn't get a look at a lot of the stuff, the different options in there, but it looks like they're going to have a lot more things available than Hearthstone does. Then again, I haven't checked out Hearthstone in a while, so I don't know for sure if it has similar stuff in it too. But yeah, it looks promising. I think it's hard probably to compete with something like Hearthstone because Blizzard they've polished that game pretty hard, and it's really fun, and it's hard to like care about the lore in Eternal because Blizzard already has like... So you know Blizzard, right?
Yes. So
the Hearthstone game takes from like all of the Warcraft games lore.
Oh, so there's actually like a backstory.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like all the other Warcraft games that were out, they have cards that represent characters from those in that game.
Oh.
So they do a good job of like keeping people interested from that point of view.
And they have like fans of those, like, oh hey, if you like this, you'll want to play this, that type of thing.
Yeah. Even though I don't know any of that lore, I still think it's cool. They have like different personalities for the characters, and
that's
they
really
actually have
cool too that they
Yeah.
bring that into
and
it.
they have like when you play a card or something, it'll like say a quote or something like that, or it'll be like a noise from the
like a sound of theirs,
like a sound effect of the creature or something like that.
That's actually kind of cool.
Which I really like. I haven't really seen that in Eternal. It's just kind of you play this thing and it, it might make a noise, but it's not like a unique one. I could be wrong though, or they just aren't very distinctive, but maybe that'll come later. And like I said, it's probably harder for people to get into this one just because there's no like established lore yet for it. It's a new property. So I think it has some potential. I'm going to keep playing the beta and see where I land on it, but right now I think it's I don't know, holding steady on opinion about it. I mean, it's still in beta, so, but it looks neat. And I know they're gonna have a mobile version too. I played it on PC, but they had a mobile version at PAX for people to play, and it functions like you expect it would, kind of like Hearthstone does on mobile. So, okay. So other than that, I guess I played a little bit of Borderlands 2 again online with a buddy of mine. And yeah, I think we're getting kind of far in the game. Handsome Collection is a good package. You get 2 games, HD versions with all the DLC for probably a low price now, actually. So it's really good. And they're making a Borderlands 3. It's a news piece. They just announced that a little bit ago. They're going to be making a Borderlands 3, so people are going to look out for that if they like Borderlands. I forgot when they said it's coming out. Probably didn't say a date, actually. But yeah, I'll stop talking about video games for a little bit if you wanted to go into some wrestling stuff.
Since I know my brother listens to this podcast, I'm going to give him another shout out. Some stuff has been happening at home, and it's affecting the entire community, and I just wanted to say hi to him, and that, because I know he listens, and I know he likes the podcast. So, hi, Jacob. Just thought I'd do that again. I'm going to talk about Payback, which is tonight, in my second segment or whatever. Continuing with apparently the depressing theme. Since the last time we did our podcast, China died.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I'm not...
On this almost the same day as Prince, right?
Yes. It's a little questionable when she died, because apparently she was alone for days, dead, which sucks. Like, no one should die like that. No one should have to die alone, and knowing that no one, and then not being found for like several days. Like, that shouldn't, she deserved far better than that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the news about her came out literally hours before Prince. And so it was like, so as a wrestling fan and a Minnesotan, last Thursday, the 21st, kind of sucked ass. It was a difficult day. But I grew up watching China. I remember watching her debut. Granted, this may sound terrible and insulting, especially with all the PC stuff going on now, but she looked like a man. She had that big
I don't think it's insulting.
build.
I mean,
she looked very
like. Yeah.
intimidating, very imposing, and literally the first thing you saw her do was pick up Goldust's wife, Marlena, and just shake her like a rag doll. Like, that's
didn't
literally...
you say she got plastic surgery?
Yes,
after
she
that?
eventually became, I think, obsessed with it. But she had a lot of stuff going on. Like, I read her book back in, like, 2000, 2001. And, she...
Yeah, geez, you're old.
I know. She had a lot of problems. She was addicted to alcohol, addicted to drugs.
For the record, I'm only 2 years younger. So.
It's true. Stephanie and Triple H, whether they intended to or not, and Vince McMahon all had a very big part in what happened to her after, because for wrestling fans, this story is very well known, and I think you know an extent of it because I've talked about it. But Triple H and Chyna were dating from the moment Chyna debuted in WWF, and then Stephanie and Triple H started their storyline together in 1999, and kind of like art imitating or life imitating art, Triple H and Stephanie started drifting together, and Chyna and Triple H started drifting apart. And Triple H cheated on Chyna with Stephanie. And the way Chyna found out was she found a bunch of letters in his briefcase from Stephanie. And
yeah, I think you mentioned that.
So they ended up getting together, and Chyna was around for about a year or two after, and then she was released because the traditional phrase that they use, creative has nothing for you. And that's when she went downhill. She, in recent interviews, was still talking about it. It was a very big...
When did she start, like, doing the porn stuff, or was that just a one-time thing?
She did one or two of them, I think. I don't know if there was any more. And it was, interestingly enough, her ex-fiancé, who is friends with Triple H, X-Pac. That was one of them she did one with. Like, it was a sex tape.
Oh,
it was called One Night in China. And,
sorry, that was funny.
Yeah. But, she... I mean, looking back on her history and everything that's happened to her in her life and how she coped with everything, it's not a complete surprise she died early. But it's still sad because, by all accounts, she was a little bitter, but understandably. She was a sweet person. She loved people. She was really good friends with Mick Foley, and his daughter Noelle has a ton of pictures with her because she would always hang out with Noelle backstage. And she was just a kind-hearted, sweet person that probably deserved a lot better than what she was dealt. And even though it was somewhat expected, it's still sad because now WWE is paying attention to her, and they didn't pay any attention to her the entire time she was alive after she left. And yeah, it's just a mess, and it involves the higher ups, and it's just sad. So, but moving on from that, John Cena's coming back a whole 4 months earlier than he should be. I don't mind him. Yeah. He's coming back on the Memorial Day edition of Raw. Speaking of Raw...
You can't see him.
Speaking of Raw, even though I do not understand the entirety of the whole thing because Shane lost, so he shouldn't be running Raw, but that said, Raw has been a fuck ton better since WrestleMania. Because Shane has been quote unquote running it.
I don't know what measurement that would be.
It's a metric fuck ton. Oh. It's a huge.
Is that like
a huge amount?
A ton, but more?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It goes quicker. Cause a 3-hour show, you get bored. The only time I get bored during Raw with Shane running it is literally the main event, and that's because Roman Reigns is involved. But that's beside the point. It's the fact that I don't even realize it's the main event until I look at the clock and it's 9:50, and I'm like, holy crap, where did the entire 3 hours of this show go? Like, it's entertaining, it's fun, there's new faces, there's new matches. Shane comes out and talks for like 5-10 minutes and then goes straight into wrestling. So there's no 20-minute promos at the beginning of the show. It's fun. I like it. And I know that Shane isn't actually running it. It's The writers are probably stepping up and everything, but in my own little dream world, I want to believe that Shane has a huge difference.
Your delusional world.
Yes, my Shane McMahon is the greatest world, which is
You're viewing the world through Shane-colored glasses.
green, the color of money.
Okay.
Yes, my green colored glasses.
Do you know if people are selling those the bills on eBay?
I don't know. I haven't looked yet. I really need to find some, though. I really do.
They're probably, like, insane prices, I bet.
I am, again, going to plead to our audience. If you know anyone... I did the last time we did this.
Or maybe they'll put it on their shop, and then you can actually pay a decent amount
If
for
they
it.
did, that would be the best.
Just,
WWE,
like, for a stack of them.
Please put stacks of Shane McMahon dollar bills on WWE shop.
People pay real money to get this fake money.
It's Shane McMahon. I would pay anything.
You know, you could probably find, like, a picture out there and print your own.
Use Dan Reichert's picture. He had a pretty good picture of it.
People probably have that scanned already.
I could Google it, I'm sure.
That's the cheap way, folks.
I would be willing.
Internet.
I would be willing to pay money for it, though. Let's just say that.
Google Foo. That's what you call it.
Google Shane McMahon money. Let's see. Eric Young is in NXT, which is yet another TNA superstar leaving TNA because apparently they don't pay him. Hey, Dixie Carter, you want to keep your wrestlers? You should probably pay him.
What? They're not paying people in TNA? What?
No. They apparently owe him, like, almost six figures. It's kind of ridiculous. Like, combined
was
him
that
and
already
Bobby
apparent,
Roode.
though? Like, that's been happening to people?
Well, if you look at...
Because they're not doing well.
If you look at WWE and who they've signed recently, AJ Styles, he used to work for TNA. He was there for a very long time. They took him from New Japan, though. Austin Aries came from TNA. Eric Young.
Maybe they just need to change their name.
Bobby Roode, who I don't know if he's actually with WWE yet.
Is he related to Rick Rude?
No. Their names are spelled differently.
Okay.
I miss Rick Rude.
I don't know
It's
that
okay.
stuff.
It's okay. Bobby Roode is Roode.
All right.
And Rick Rude is like, you're being rude.
So it's probably not a real name then.
Neither of them are real names.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are they rude dudes?
Rick Rude was the ultimate rude man, because the rude dude, because
was he the one with like the face on the tights?
Spray painted tights, and at one point he had Jake the Snake Roberts' wife's face on his tights.
That was kind of a weird thing.
It was amazing. It was mind games at its finest. Like, he would get into the mind and the head of his opponent. Like, he got into Jake the Snake Roberts' head because he spray painted Jake's wife's face on his pants.
The ultimate middle finger.
Right? It was great. Great. Ravishing Rick Rude. Completely underrated and needs to be in the motherfucking WWE Hall of Fame.
Should I wear tights with like Donald Trump's face on it or something?
I would hope you would be able to pick somebody better.
I probably shouldn't wear tights anyway. I don't know.
If you did, I really hope you'd pick somebody better. I mean, Donald Trump is not.
No, see, like, then his nose will be, like, kind of where my crotch is, and so it'll just kind of be
but I'd at least
bulging out a little,
I'd at least want to look there, and I don't want to look at Donald Trump's face, so...
Good point.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and
wrestling.
Yes. Yes.
This is what it's about, right? Wearing pants of people's faces.
Yes.
Tell me more.
Ultimate mind games.
This sounds stupid enough. It might be fun.
You should just look up Rick Rude on YouTube. He's the best.
You've already shown me videos.
I love him.
It's okay.
I love him. And he was born and lived in Minnesota, so yay!
Oh, but they won't bring WrestleMania to Minnesota.
Shut up! That's a very sore spot. I don't want to think about that.
Maybe you could talk about that.
Nope. I'm not gonna talk about that. We're not gonna talk about that. That's
They'll eventually do it.
I sure as hell hope so.
They'll do it.
The thing I'm going to end on, because talking about WrestleMania not coming to Minnesota is very depressing.
WrestleMania.
Tomorrow is a year since I met Nikki and Brie Bella at Wizard World. Mm-hmm. And Saturday the 7th is Wizard World in Minneapolis again, and I will be meeting Paige. And also Rob Schamberger, the awesome artist.
And the only person I really want to see is the Green Ranger.
There's
White Ranger.
There's no shame in that. I'm drinking out of my Pink Ranger cup. I mean, there's no shame in that. It's the Power Rangers.
Jason David Frank.
Yep.
He's like the real deal because he's like a UFC fighter. Right?
He's freaking...
Or MMA or whatever.
He's freaking badass.
MMA, I think.
Yeah, he challenged CM Punk to a fight. It was great.
He kind of looks the same, too.
He does. He hasn't really...
He's aged gracefully.
Yes.
Probably all that martial arts.
Probably.
That he actually does.
Yeah, probably. He's pretty badass. But yeah, I will be meeting Paige and the awesome WWE artist Rob Schamberger, who retweeted me when I said that. So
think they're going to have the Batmobile again?
If they do, I will probably get my picture taken.
Maybe I should get a picture in it this time.
You should. I got my picture taken last year in the 66 Batmobile, and besides meeting Nikki Bella, it was the greatest moment of my life.
I got a picture in the DeLorean from Back to the Future.
There you go.
That was pretty great.
But yes, if you live in a city that has a Wizard World Comic-Con, you should go.
Also, just to say, it was either a very, very good replica or the actual... Well, I know there were several they used on set. From when I was reading that book, I learned that. But it had everything in there. And, like, you could see all the little knobs and things in there. And there's, like, paper... like written on paper that was like taped to things. It looked all legitimate and everything.
It's the official one that they bring around the country.
Yeah. And they had the flux capacitor, obviously, and it was working.
And the Batmobile was pretty.
I was just really I wish I could have spent like 20 minutes in there or more because there's a lot of stuff to look at in there.
I very quickly took in all the Batmobile stuff. Like, it had everything labeled. It had the Bat phone. Like, it had all of it. It was just... Yeah. So great. Like,
anyway.
But yes,
I don't know how that's really related. But
you should go to Wizard World Comic Con if you are in a city that has it. Wizard World Comic Con Minneapolis.
Yeah, it's usually it's like cheaper and it's not as like many people.
And it's fun. Like you just have to. You don't even have to meet any of the big people.
However, it is mostly merchandising, and it's like merchandise sales and meeting like the people that are
there's artists, there's
there's artists, but yeah, that's still merchandise.
Last year I got to meet Neil Adams.
Basically, like, yeah,
Neil Adams is the artist for Batman.
They had a video game area there, but it was like super small, so I was kind of disappointed in that. But I did end up buying some stuff, and that's really what
it's kind of like not kind of like San Diego Comic-Con, because that's like the big one.
And I can't compare it to that because
I've never been there, but like it's very much a pop culture thing.
That's true.
And it's fun. It's got a lot of merchandise. It's a bit of a money sink if you don't plan it out.
If you don't want to buy anything, you probably don't have any business being there.
If you like last year, I met Kevin Sorbo and got a Mother's Day present for my mom.
But yet again, you had to pay money.
Yeah, but it's Kevin Sorbo and it made my mom really happy, so it was worth it.
But I'm just saying, it's not like...
I had to buy it, but I also had the Mad TV artist draw me as the Divas champion, so that was pretty friggin' sweet.
Yeah, you can people to draw you and stuff. And
it's fun, and if you like pop culture and you like things like that, and it's fun, it's worth it. Like, you don't even have to buy. Like, Andrew bought me the VIP for Nikki and Brie because I wanted to meet Nikki, and she called me beautiful twice. It was wonderful. I got to hold the Divas title, and I got to meet Nikki Bella, and it was great. And I'm going to be buying VIP for Paige again because I refuse to go anywhere without VIP because I'm not going to spend money and not get to meet the person. Mm-hmm. Because if I'm going to want to meet somebody, I'm going to meet them, and VIP guarantees that. So it's a little bit extra money, but it's worth it because it's somebody I want to meet. And I have a ton of people that love Paige. Like, my brother loves Paige, Brittany loves Paige, 2 of my best friends love Paige, like, and I'm probably going to tell her that. Like, I have my dad loves Paige. Like, there's a ton of people, and I'll get to meet her, and I'll wear my Paige shirt. And I'm not the biggest Paige fan, but she seems like she'd be cool, and it's gonna be worth it.
She's the one with like the British accent, right?
Yes, she's from Norwich, England.
From where?
Norwich, England.
Norwich.
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Norwich.
Okay. So it's that weird pronunciation like Greenwich. Greenwich?
Yeah. Greenwich, Connecticut.
Greenwich.
Shut up. Greenwich, Connecticut's a place.
England is where the international dateline rests.
Greenwich, Connecticut's a place, and it's where the McMahons are billed from, so suck it!
Well, they took that from England. But hey, we took a lot of stuff from England.
We took a ton of stuff from England.
Go USA.
But yes, so our next podcast, as we're rambling on, our next podcast, I will tell everyone about meeting Paige. So we have that to look forward to.
Yay.
So yeah, you can talk now.
Well, I actually have something that we can both talk about. Just this past, let's see, it was on Friday. The Ratchet and Clank movie came out, and we went to see it. And before that, got to play some arcade games, because I felt like playing arcade games, because they had Hydro Thunder. They had a Hydro Thunder machine at the movie theater that I've been wanting to play for a while, because I love that game.
And I totally won a stuffed Lucha Libre wrestler out of the crane game, which never happens. So I'm a total winner right now. So still riding the high off of that. That was pretty great.
Yeah. They're still rigged, though, but...
I don't care, I won.
Yeah.
I'm 29. I've never won on that goddamn thing before.
I played some of the Terminator game. I think it was Terminator Salvation.
You had an adorable little girl trying to help you, even though she didn't have any money invested in it.
Well, she didn't do anything, because I died, so...
Well, you were shooting people together. She enjoyed it. It was cute.
Yeah. It was fun. Anyway, Ratchet and Clank movie. So I'm going to ask you what you thought of it first. Considering you've seen me play some of them, but you haven't really...
I felt like going into it, I was like, oh, I've seen enough of him playing this game to understand what's going on. Like, I know Ratchet, I know Clank, I know Captain Quark. Like, I know the main people. Mm-hmm. Without any spoilers, I thought it was good. I mean, at the same time, I was sitting there and I was like, expecting you to have your controller and go into playing, like, because it was like cutscenes and stuff, but it wasn't. It was a full movie. But yeah, I kind of in the back of my head was like, oh, he's gonna start playing any second now, because that's what I'm used to. But I thought it was good. It's not my kind of movie, but I still thought it was good.
Is it mainly because you weren't like bought into the story of Ratchet and Clank as much? Or...
I mean, I've watched you play it, but I'm not like completely invested in it.
Yeah. And
like it didn't like we went to go see Turbo Kid.
Yes.
And
which is a very good movie.
Didn't know anything about Turbo Kid. And you really wanted... We had to go to the Mall of America to see it. Like, that's how much you wanted to see it.
Well, it was limited because it was, like, a smaller
But, like,
thing.
That movie, like, pulled me in. Like, I started caring very quickly in that movie. Ratchet and Clank was more kind of, like...
Video gamey.
That
still.
And, like, a kid's movie, kind of. Like, not completely, but it still had that kid's feel to it. And it didn't pull me into it. So as an outsider, I don't know if I'd watch it again. Mm-hmm. But I thought it was good. It wasn't completely terrible.
So, okay. So, yeah, the movie is basically like a retelling of the origin story. So some of the through lines are kind of the same. In fact, I'm pretty sure there was a scene when they actually meet, which is directly, I remember it line for line, being the same as it was in the very first Ratchet and Clank game, which is kind of a weird feeling. Everything else was like kind of different, but they fashioned a different kind of storyline around the origin of them, dealing with the what was the League, the Rangers. Something.
The Galactic Rangers.
The Galactic Rangers, yep. I think that was kind of a thing in the games. I can't remember for sure, but yeah, they kind of center it around that, and like, you know, they visit Ratchet's planet to, you know, look for people to join the Galactic Rangers and all that. So my opinion of the movie was that, so I played all of the like main Ratchet and Clank games, the ones I consider to be main. which, yeah, I'm pretty sure there's quite a few of them. And I love pretty much all of them. They're excellent. One of my favorite series of all time, actually. But, so, my opinion of the movie, it was, I mean, a lot of jokes in there that are really good. And, however, that can sometimes be to the detriment. So, like, if people are going into this movie thinking it's going to be, like, a Pixar movie or something of that caliber, they might be a little disappointed, I would say, because the one thing that, like, Pixar and those other movies do well when they hit well is they do, you know, they have funny moments in it, but then they also have moments that are, like, emotional and are treated that, like, with the right amount of care, I think. I think the Ratchet and Clank movie could have had potential to do that, but they didn't have enough of those moments to even it out, I think. And when they did have, like, an emotional scene or something, they would sometimes almost ruin the moment with the jokes. So, like, the pacing was kind of weird on, like, how many jokes they were just trying to, like, pump through, it seems. Which, it was kind of jarring, I think, a little bit. I was like, oh, I hope they don't keep doing this where they just, like, keep throwing jokes out there.
It did kind of seem
they were
like
good.
that.
They were good. There was a lot of good jokes there. Like, people laughed at them in the theater.
Yeah.
We were sitting next to someone. I talked to him afterward, another fan of the games, I think, and yeah, I heard him laugh at a bunch of the jokes too. Especially there was some cool little not Easter eggs, but, like, callback, like, references to some things that I don't want to spoil, but people that know the Ratchet and Clank property or you know, other games around that perhaps will get a kick out of some of the jokes in there. So the other interesting thing I noticed was it's billed as a PlayStation original.
And it'll be interesting to see where they go with that.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's going to be a thing going forward, because I know there's an Uncharted movie, like, I don't know if it's, like, being filmed or anything, but I'm pretty sure that's still going forward.
We mentioned that, and my exact quote was, I would pay for us to go to that.
Yeah,
I love Uncharted. I don't even play it. I just love watching it.
And whenever they do that, it's probably going to be billed as a PlayStation original, because that's, like, one of their biggest properties.
What other games would be PlayStation originals if they made movies?
Maybe, like, Crash Bandicoot or Spyro. Trying to think. Tomb Raider was originally kind of a PlayStation thing, but not really.
It's kind of turned into
There's already been
property.
Tomb Raider movies, so they didn't really do that with it. So I don't know for sure.
Which would be the biggest success? Do you think Uncharted would be the biggest?
Oh, I think Uncharted would be, if they did it right. Yeah. Anyway, back to my opinion of the movie. Ratchet and Clank, I think it's good for fans of the series, but I think people that are coming in that have, you know, seen the other, like, Pixar movies and stuff like that just knock it out of the park with, like, humor and pacing and emotional involvement. Like, you can cry at a Pixar movie because they do it so well, or, like, Disney movies in general.
My favorite thing was, as we were walking out, we're like, well, it's the first one. There's time, and I was like, well, what was the first Pixar movie? To be fair, and you're like, I think it was Toy Story. I was like, okay, I rescind my statement.
Yeah. So
Pixar's been knocking it out of the park.
If you're
since
expecting a movie of that caliber, you might be disappointed. However, if you go into it as a full length, you know, like Ratchet and Clank telling / it's like a big cutscene out of the games.
A gigantic cutscene
that has the similar kind of humor you're used to.
A gigantic 1.5 hour.
And references to things that you might really enjoy if you're a fan of the series.
I did like seeing their origin story.
And you know, a good amount of humor. Like, I think it's light on, you know, like, the story wasn't, like, the best. It was kind of straightforward, really.
Yeah.
They could have done some different things with it, probably, but I think they're leaving it open probably for other movies to come out, depending on the success of this one. So I'd like to see that. I'd like to see them go further with it. Yeah.
Further with Ratchet and Clank?
Further with the movies.
PlayStation original movies.
I don't know what they would do, though. So, because if they're retelling the original, like, if they're just going to go through each game and retell that, I don't know if that'll work, really. Mm-hmm. Or if they're just going to have to branch out somehow.
And, like, come up with their own stories.
Because right now, it's like, when you do a remake like that, a retelling, it's like an alternate universe, kind of, almost.
Kind of, yeah.
Like, the story beats are still kind of there. Like, there's like returning characters and stuff, the ones that you recognize.
And I would like to point out that we totally met the voice of Clank. So.
Oh yeah, we did. What was that? That was at Medicon.
Medicon when we met Anthony.
Ago,
yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. We actually got to meet David Kay, and for some reason I didn't realize like he was naming off other voices that he did. I think Megatron was one of them.
He was a Transformer. I don't know which one.
I think he played the voice of Megatron and some stuff. And
he was on the regular show.
I was like, oh, we could go see him. That sounds cool. And then I realized, oh, he actually did the voice of Clank.
And you got really excited about that.
Yeah, and he was awesome. We got a picture with him and everything. He's a cool guy.
And I got a picture. I paid for an autograph for my brother Jacob because he was on the regular show, and Jacob watches the regular show, and so I got him a birthday present because that was. And shortly
I remember
before his
David
birthday.
Kay, even then, he was talking about they were doing stuff with the movie.
Yeah, I do remember that now that you mention it, yeah.
He was actually talking about it then.
Can we do a shout out to Anthony? I don't know if he'll ever listen to this, but we met Anthony at Medicon.
Sure, why not? I guess so.
And we hopefully will see him next weekend. We haven't seen him since Medicon.
Yep.
He's awesome.
Yep. If you go to conventions, you might meet cool people.
It's true.
Yeah. So Ratchet and Clank, that was my thoughts on it, really.
Out of 10 bolts, what would you give it?
And I'll just say, I was going to put this in my like looking forward to section. I actually bought the game already, which is supposed to be a parallel to the movie, which is a retelling of the original Ratchet and Clank game. So it's like the movie. So then the game is the game based on the movie based on the game, which is what I've heard it billed as, which is 100% true.
That's a little bit.
But I've heard it like looks really good, like the graphics on it.
There's that.
Some people have said it is the best looking of any PlayStation game so far.
So out of 10 bolts, what would you give it?
Out of 10 bolts.
Yep.
I think I'll give it a 7.
Okay.
That seems about right.
That sounds fair.
I mean, it could have. I think if they hit some of those things better, which is probably a hard thing to do if you don't have like really, really super talented writers and stuff. And they have good writers. It's just like they didn't quite get there. I think the music was another thing that they could have hit better too. I noticed.
It seemed like it was
was like kind of quiet at moments where it felt like it needed to be a lot louder.
And it was louder when it should have been
the
quieter.
like the action-y sequences felt like the music was just like kind of in the background when it should be like swells of like music coming through. Yeah. Like what you're usually used to when going to a movie in the theater. But it was kind of muted. It was weird.
A little bit.
So that really threw me off, and it makes me appreciate like the use of music in film a little better when you see it not used in the best way.
But 7 out of 10 bolts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
So, that's what I think.
All right.
So, you got any more wrestling stuff you want to talk about?
Payback is tonight. It's the first pay-per-view since WrestleMania. The card looks stacked. It's actually stacked.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Kalisto is continuing to be shoved to the side. He's the United States champion. And this is the third straight pay-per-view where he has been on the pre-show, which sucks because Kalisto's freaking talented, and he's against Ryback again, so that sucks too. And Kalisto beat Ryback at WrestleMania, so why aren't we done with this? Let's see.
Because wrestling? I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Going bottom up, Baron Corbin against Dolph Ziggler.
Bottom up.
Shut up.
I like that.
Baron Corbin against Dolph Ziggler. I really don't know if I completely care about this match. I have stopped caring about Dolph Ziggler.
Wah, wah.
I am letting his personal choice of president get in the way, but
But we won't get into that, right?
I can't support him. And he also has kind of become a dick. Total Divas kind of helped with that. Scripted.
Should I put his face on my pants?
No, because I don't want to look at him. He makes me mad.
Am I missing the point of the pants thing?
Yes. We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Baron
right.
Corbin. I suppose I can pick Baron
After
Corbin.
the cast.
Yeah. Well,
Post-cast.
Yeah.
Debriefing.
Chris Jericho versus Dean Ambrose. Should be an interesting match.
Only for the truest of... No. I was going to say, that could be like extra content.
We could.
I don't know. That sounds dumb. We only have like 3 episodes.
It's true. Why do we need extra content yet?
I know.
Sami Zayn against Kevin Owens. There have been ways to describe this. They're quote-unquote destined to do this forever. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens have been best friends and...
Besties.
They're besties. They've
oh my god, besties.
They've been intertwined with each other forever. Like... Yeah.
Like
so,
2 peas in a pod.
As they've said on the video packages, which, by the way, WWE fails at a lot of things, but their video packaging is A++. They know
10 out of 10.
They know how to get you invested in a story just with the video packaging. They make you care about the match with the video packaging. They are superb at that. Sami Zayn was the best man at Kevin Owens' wedding. He was at the hospital when Kevin Owens' son was born. So they are legitimately good friends and this whole thing and
bros for life.
Yeah.
Do they do the thing like in Predator where they put their big muscled arms together as they do the handshake thing?
Not quite.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know what you're talking about. But
son of a bitch.
But this will be a good match if they get the time and they get the ability to show what they can do. I think Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens could steal the show tonight. I'm very excited for that match. And Sami Zayn's theme music makes me really happy.
I don't know what it sounds like. So.
I'll have to play it for you. It makes me very happy. It's
for the debriefing, exclusive to nobody.
Yeah. They have a number one contenders match for the tag team titles with to face New Day.
It's a new day, yes it is.
It's Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy against the Vaudevillains. The 3 teams.
They should ride one of those bikes with the super huge front wheels on it.
The Vaudevillains?
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
That's how they should just enter. Or if they're in WrestleMania, they should do that.
Like the big gigantic Bootios box.
No, this is different.
Well, so they enter in black and white. And when New Day said that the winner of the number 1 contenders match was going to party like it's 1999, shout out to Prince, they came out and said they were going to party like it's 1899. So I may have accidentally referenced them as from the 20s. They're farther back than that. They are... And Simon Gotch is awesome, and I love the team. And by the way, interesting fact, Aiden English is married to Eddie Guerrero's daughter. They got married earlier this year, end of last year, I think.
All right.
But yeah, so he's
beans.
In with the one of the famous families of wrestling. They're totally adorable together. And Enzo and Cass.
Adorbs.
Yes.
As the kids say.
And Enzo and Cass. We all know I love Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy. As you roll your eyes, I do really love them. And then there's the women's championship match. It's Natalya with Bret Hart against Charlotte with Ric Flair. Mm-hmm. There was actually something interesting that happened at the SmackDown taping that they obviously cut out. Ric Flair told Natalya to kill herself.
Oh yeah, that thing.
Yeah, he
Hey, maybe he's running for president.
He really, really needs to get some help. I love Ric Flair. He's top 5 of all time for me, but he really needs to
Did he get
get some help.
Did he get bumped down from your list?
No, he's still a big part of my favorites. It's just he really needs to.
Oh, I guess Hulk Hogan would have also been.
Hulk Hogan was not top 5 actually.
Oh, okay.
2-year-old to 10-year-old Candace, yes, but not now. My top 5 is actually not.
You were that young?
Not in any specific order, but it's Shawn Michaels, Kurt Angle, Ric Flair,
Shane McMahon,
and
the one you squeal at every time he shows on screen.
It's true. I think Chris Jericho is on there too. But yeah, so yeah.
Okay.
So I know Charlotte's gonna win this match because
What's your predictions?
They're probably going towards a SummerSlam match between Charlotte and Sasha. SummerSlam is actually the day after my birthday. It's always been my favorite pay-per-view because it's always around my birthday. It's within 1 week before or 1 week after my birthday, and some days it's actually on, or some years it's actually on my birthday. So SummerSlam is probably my favorite, except besides WrestleMania. SummerSlam is actually the WrestleMania of the summer, I feel like, and they're starting to turn it into that because they're starting to have autograph signings and weekend, and it might even turn into a whole week at some point.
Interesting.
Any way to get money, right?
It's like how
People will pay it.
It's like how the PAX conventions are. I've heard that like the East one is getting bigger, and now I heard they're also turning the Prime one. They're calling it West now, so it's not like the main one because at East is like so big now that it's like almost on par with Prime. But I think Prime's still like a 4-day convention. And the others are like only 3 days. Yeah,
WrestleMania is that whole week. Like it starts like Wednesday or Thursday and it goes until like Tuesday of the next week. Like it's almost a full week. SummerSlam, there's actually something they call it Access, I believe, or something like that. And it's turning into the WrestleMania of the summer. And it's always been one of the big 4 pay-per-views. The big 4 have always been Royal Rumble in January, WrestleMania in March or April, SummerSlam in August, and Survivor Series in November. Those were the 4 original pay-per-views. Like those have always been the big 4, and I'm not surprised SummerSlam is being touted as more than it used to. But Charlotte will probably win. I do like how the first feud Charlotte has for the Women's Championship is Natalya, though. Because Natalya does deserve this. And I hope it lasts longer than just this one match. But if they're going towards a Charlotte-Sasha Banks SummerSlam where Sasha probably will win the title, I don't know how long this feud with Natalya will last. But I really hope that they give them time, and because Natalya and Charlotte,
it can't just be in their like characters, because you just don't say that to somebody, because that's a real life thing, right?
What? The thing he said to her.
The thing that Rick said.
He kind of gets carried away. Like he's always been the person.
Does he not know the line between?
He was very much
real life and wrestling.
When he was. The 70s and 80s, there was no line. It was, you are your character 24/7.
And he's still in that mode.
And I have a feeling Ric Flair drinks a lot. Not surprising, considering he lost his child, and he probably never actually grieved over that. Be like
the movie The Wrestler, right?
That's why that movie was so difficult for me to watch.
Which is a good movie. I recommend it to people.
And as a professional wrestling fan, just be prepared for lots of sadness, because you will see a lot of your idols and a lot of your favorite wrestlers in Randy the Ram. Like it's a very difficult movie to watch as a wrestling fan, because you see so many people that you've grown up watching, because wrestling is a very difficult thing to get out of. The only way a lot of wrestlers actually stopped, like Daniel Bryan will never wrestle again, Edge, Stone Cold Steve Austin, because they were told if they do continue, they might die. That's the only way a wrestler will stop wrestling, is if they are told they might die. And even then, it doesn't stop them, because Sabu still wrestles, and he's been told a million times that he might die. So it's a great movie. It's a great movie. It's just, as a wrestling fan, it's really hard to watch.
It's like, you don't even have to like wrestling to like that movie, I think.
But
because it's more about...
It's the story.
The story.
But if you do watch wrestling, just be prepared for a slightly more depressing look at it than... But it's a great movie. I liked it.
Mm-hmm. How old is that movie now? It's got to be several years old.
Ooh, yeah, at least. We watched it towards the beginning of our relationship, so it's got to be...
I don't remember when.
But yeah, so I want Natalya to win, but Charlotte will probably win. The Intercontinental title match is Cesaro versus The Miz. I absolutely fucking adore the fact that Cesaro's entrance involves a tearaway suit. I love everything about Cesaro.
I need to get me some tearaway pants.
I have some.
They won't fit me.
I am a full-fledged member of the Cesaro section.
Oh my god.
There are actually signs in the crowd, and there's a shirt that I need to buy. Which,
really?
Speaking of which, my...
Cesaro section. Because you know what that shortens to. C-section.
So? That's probably not the point. Anyway,
you didn't realize that?
Speaking of shirts, my Shinsuke Nakamura King of Strong Style shirt.
Hey, you said his name right.
Yay! And my plastic...
He's not crying anymore.
Yep, because Shinsuke Nakamura was so depressed that me, Candace,
we'll send him a link to the first episode so you can listen to you butcher his name.
I seriously, the entire 2 weeks until we did our second episode, I was kicking myself.
Not literally.
Mentally and inside.
I don't think you can really kick yourself that easily anyway.
Yes, you can. Just jump and you can kick your own ass. It's actually, I've done it.
You kicked your own ass.
Yep.
Anyway,
Cesaro,
okay.
my Shinsuke Nakamura shirt and my plastic WWE Women's Championship belt are in the office right now. I should probably go get those tomorrow. But yes, Cesaro. I want Cesaro to win. I still don't understand the point of Zack Ryder winning at WrestleMania. He got his WrestleMania moment. It was awesome. He got to spend it with his dad. It was great. And then they had him lose the next night. Anyway.
Okay.
And the World Heavyweight Championship match, which I reluctantly, because I love AJ Styles. I don't care.
Is he styling?
Yeah, he's phenomenal. He's styling. It's great. He's against Roman Reigns, and I know Roman Reigns is probably going to win, and I don't care about Roman Reigns. So...
Who does?
Roman's family, and Brittany and Abby. They really like him too. And
isn't
Dylan
he the one
too.
that looks like a cool, like, action... I don't know, he looks like...
He has the black, curly, wet hair all the time, and he has the vest. He wears the vest.
He looks like if Vamp from Metal Gear Solid wore, like... black SWAT gear. That's what I always pictured him as.
Fair enough. He also has this really annoying catchphrase, I'm not a good guy, I'm not a bad guy, I'm the guy, and it makes me want to run my head into a wall every time he says it. They could have picked a far better... I actually didn't mind his believe that catchphrase, but hey, let's give him a shitty catchphrase and make him even more annoying. But, they need
to take some notes from, like... Arnold Schwarzenegger's movies.
Well, he is a Hall of Famer in WWE, so...
They need someone like Mr. Freeze to say, like, chill out.
Yes.
Cool it.
This match might actually make me interested in the sense that no one knows... No one knows what Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson are going to do because they were part of the Bullet Club with AJ Styles in Japan. And they've been teasing that with the Usos and Roman Reigns for weeks. Apparently, Seth Rollins has been spotted backstage. He is, to be fair, the pay-per-view is in Chicago.
Seth Rollins, to me, looks like a smaller version of Roman Reigns.
Love Seth Rollins.
He's like the skinnier version.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, so he's apparently... To be fair, he does live in Davenport, Iowa, and that's really not that far from Chicago. But he's apparently been spotted backstage. And then you have...
That's still a bit of a drive.
A few hours. It's a hell of a lot closer than a lot of other pay-per-views.
Oh.
It's why he was at Raw, because it was in Minneapolis, and it's not that far. The Slammies. That's why he came to the Slammies, even though he was on crutches. Which was great to see him, because I miss Seth Rollins. And then you have troll extraordinaire Finn Balor, who also was a part of the Bullet Club when he was Fergal Devitt. And he's been, every time there's been a rumor of, like, before Carl Anderson.
Has it.
Rumor has it. Before Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows came to WWE, that he would post pictures of Balor Club or Bullet Club, and he was standing at the Performance Center, and he had the door open with his foot, and he's looking at his wrist like, what time is it? Are they here yet? Like, are they coming? He was trolling hardcore. It was great.
Hardcore.
And then there have been rumors that the reason he lost to Samoa Joe was because he's coming up to the main roster.
That name. Samoa Joe.
He's awesome.
It's a cool name.
He's been trolling, like, every time you hear that he might be showing up, he'll post a picture of himself and tag it in, like, Ireland, or he'll tag it in Brooklyn. Like, he's a gigantic troll when it comes to this stuff. So it'll be interesting to see if he was supposed to show up at Raw, but we'll see if they hold it off until Payback, if Balor shows up and teams with Doc Gallows, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson. I have a feeling Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson might turn on AJ and have Finn Balor join them. That would be pretty cool. And it'd be interesting to see where they go with that. I think Finn Balor versus AJ Styles would be amazing matches, because they're extremely talented. But looking at the card for Payback, it looks... Oh, before I forget, Vince McMahon is going to tonight pick who's going to run Raw. Stephanie and the Authority or Shane McMahon.
Ooh.
So, and there's also a rumored...
Scandalous.
There's also a rumored brand split. So it might be one of them runs Raw and one of them runs SmackDown. I really hope Shane ends up running Raw because I don't want to watch SmackDown. But if Shane ends up running SmackDown, I may start watching wrestling on Thursdays.
Okay.
But yeah, so it looks like a stacked card. It looks like it'll be pretty good. I personally think match of the night will be Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. But we'll see. Maybe somebody else will steal the show. So.
Okay. I guess you'll probably have updates next time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, a little past the hour mark. I'll just get on to my looking forward to's. Looking forward to playing the Ratchet Clank game now that I've seen the movie, because I guess it follows the movie pretty closely.
That's
and cool. They actually have, like, cutscenes from the movie, like actual scenes from the movie.
In the game?
In the game.
Nice.
Yep. So I'm really excited to play that. I've been hearing lots of good things. I pretty much liked every other Ratchet Clank game. Like, none of them are bad. So I'm going to play the heck out of that once I beat Dark Souls, probably. Kind of on the Dark Souls train, so... Also, Hitman Episode 2 came out. I have not played it yet, but it takes place in Sapienza. From what I'm hearing, it's pretty good, though, so... I actually saw, like, an informal poll that people preferred it over the other mission that was already out, which was the one in Paris at the fashion show. So looking forward to playing that. Uncharted 4 is coming out on May 10th, which is now in like a little over a week. So I'll probably have played it by the time we have our next podcast. So I'm excited for that. Gosh, I need to finish Dark Souls for then. Because, oh yeah, God, there's just too many good games out there. I don't have time to play all of them. Yeah, that's really what's on my radar right now. Probably gonna reach into my backlog once I have time to do that. There's just too many good games coming out. It's hard to keep up. So, we also have some questions that our friend Ryan sent on the YouTube channel. So, which,
before we answer them, send us questions. If you hear us talk about something you want elaborated on.
For those that actually do listen and care, I think, go ahead and send us some questions and we'll answer them. And also, like, any suggestions of stuff you want to hear on the podcast.
Or if there's anything wrestling related you want me to talk about.
If you want us to, like, add stuff that would help it make it better.
Oh, and before I forget, Marlena gave me a shout out, our podcast, a shout out on her After the Bell show.
Okay.
She has a podcast with her friend Julie called Heel Section 119. It's a wrestling podcast.
And it's found where?
On Spreaker.
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 Gotcha.
And it's
Maybe we
also,
should have done that.
It's also on YouTube.
Okay.
And it's on Roku, and it's a lot of different places.
we might put ours on others, like maybe SoundCloud or something.
But
I gotta look into that.
That is my shout out. I told her I would shout out to them.
Something that wouldn't require us to like keep a, like, I don't know, hopefully cheap or free options.
Something cheap or free. But yes,
or we can host
Heel Section
stuff.
119. Two very opinionated, lovely ladies. Marlena's been my best friend since senior year of high school, and she's pretty much my sister, so go listen to that too.
And that's the wrestling one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she has one called After the Bell, which is her opinion about
There's a bunch of video
things.
game podcasts I listen to. I don't know if I mainly listen to like Giant Bomb and stuff like that.
Speaking
really
of which,
good.
I just watched Dan Reichert versus Xavier Woods from last year on Up, Up, Down, Down. Up, Up, Down, Down. Subscribe on YouTube. Xavier Woods' video game / wrestling channel.
I've been meaning to watch that too because he's pretty funny. And
it's wonderful.
Yeah. So, questions. Ryan asked for you, Candace, what is your favorite Star Wars movie?
Well, I did love all 7 of them. But if I had to pick a favorite, it would probably be the most recent one because now I get to personally be involved in like the hype and the excitement. And because I didn't watch the Star Wars movies when I was a kid. So I didn't know about 4, 5, and 6 until, I heard of them, but I had never watched them. 1, 2, and 3 still didn't pay attention. I knew they existed. I knew they were out. I knew they were around. But I wasn't involved in them. But now that I've seen all of them and I got to experience 7 opening night with a crowd that's
probably painted your experience a little.
I don't even care, but I thought 7 was good. I loved Rey. Daisy Ridley is like my new woman crush. I love her.
She's probably the main.
She's super
protagonist,
freaking adorable, and I love her. And
which hasn't happened yet in the Star Wars universe.
It's always been like it was Anakin.
I mean, Leia
Leia, but it was Leia, Luke, and Han.
Yeah, Leia's pretty badass too, but
Leia is a badass.
But she doesn't have a lot of moments where she gets to like show that.
She is such a badass. But it's true. It was those 3. It wasn't one or the other. It was those 3. And then in the 1, 2, and 3, it was
or Luke really was like.
1, 2, and 3 was Anakin and Obi-Wan, and to a smaller extent Padme, but she was still a badass. But with 7, like I'm all about that like admirable women to look up to thing because I didn't really have that as a kid, and I have 3 little girls, actually 4 now with my best friend's baby in my life that I want to help boost up, and I want to have them look at like positive female role models.
Give them good role models.
Yeah, like I show them Nikki. Abby loves Nikki Bella.
And there are people out there who are saying, "Oh, why isn't there a male as the protagonist?"
Because you fucking had Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Anakin Skywalker at one point. Let the women have somebody as the main protagonist.
I don't think you need to come out and be that aggressive about it, but yeah, there's been plenty of...
Growing up, I never had anybody... The women in wrestling were freaking bra and panties matches and pudding matches and all of that. Like... I can show Brittany, Abby, Callie, and Noelle. Like, I can show all 4 of them.
Daisy Ridley.
I love her.
Is cute.
She is very cute. I can show them the women of WWE. I can show them Rey and Daisy Ridley. I can show them the Minnesota Lynx, which we will get to show the girls of the Minnesota Lynx on the 8th. Like, I have all of these people, all of these women that I can show these girls and be like,
on the 8th already.
And like you can be like strong, and you can be beautiful and funny and strong, and you can be anything you want to be. And that's part of why I love 7, because it's Rey, and like Rey is beautiful and strong and funny, and she's just this great role model, and I love that. And I cried like a little bitch baby in 7 because we had watched 4, 5, and 6 in the days before it, and it was really hard.
It was emotional for various reasons.
And Leia was a badass in it, and it'll be exciting to see where they go with Luke and Rey and see how that goes. But I'd have to say 7 is my favorite. Maybe it's painted by all that stuff, but I get to be involved in the Star Wars excitement.
It's always cool to get to do that. You know.
As I'm sitting here in my Star Wars shirt.
Yeah. Which is of the original trilogy.
Yep. If they have like freaking stuff for Rey, like shirts and shit, I'll buy them.
Yeah. I think she's a good character. I mean, there have been criticisms that she's like catching on to the Force too quickly or whatever, but you know, whatever.
According to them, she had it the entire time. She just didn't know it.
Yeah, anyway, that's a whole other thing. You've answered the question.
Exactly. 7. Thank you, Ryan.
And now I'll go into something that I can answer as well. I can say my favorite Star Wars movie too, I guess.
There you go.
Just for the heck of it. I actually don't know. I didn't think about it before, but I don't know how to answer that. I kind of view the original trilogy as all one movie, and that's kind of my favorite, Star Wars is the original trilogy. So that's kind of a cop-out answer, but it all kind of blends together for me. I don't see them as separate entities, really, which sometimes with like trilogies or things like that, you kind of have to view it like that.
Like Toy Story. It's very hard to separate.
Yeah, it's like you have to like really pick it apart and be like, well, this didn't have as much of this, or this focused too much on this.
I liked this moment for this and this for this, but as a whole, like that sort of thing.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, I really like A New Hope. That one's really good. So, I mean, it sets up all the like main characters that you need to know about, and I mean, the second one is good because it had one of the biggest twists in cinema history, that people still quote incorrectly. Everyone knows that one, but I mean, and then 6, just wrapped it up. It had Ewoks that some people don't like. I think they're fine. Like, what's the problem with having creatures on a forest moon that they go to? It's
also,
they're not Jar Jar.
I'd like to point out that Chewbacca is probably one of my favorites. My phone is named...
Oh, he's great.
My phone is named C-3PO because it's gold. My ringtone, my text tone is R2-D2 and he's happy. But I really love Chewbacca too.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He's nice.
So, the other question was for me specifically. It was my thoughts on the Crash Bandicoot rumors. That apparently there's been some rumors that there's going to be a new game or something having to do with Crash Bandicoot.
I remember playing that when I was a kid at my uncle's house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which one?
I think it was the first one.
Okay. The first one is like super hard.
I really would get angry at it. We'd play it at the 4th of July. I'd get super pissed at it.
I played 2 and 3 a lot on the original PlayStation. In fact, Crash Bandicoot 3 was the first game I got with the PlayStation when I finally got a PlayStation. So I played the heck out of that game.
I did like Crash Bandicoot though. It's fun.
Yeah, it is. I still haven't beaten 1. It's so hard. But anyway, I don't know. I'm trying to think of how they could bring it to like the new generation of games. I kind of actually do want them to do something with it though. The series kind of got stale, I think, after 3 though. Crash Team Racing though was like a super good game. I mean, you could kind of call it a spin-off or like a rip-off of Mario Kart, but I think it's actually better than Mario Kart. Like the way it controls and everything, it's better, I think. Just because there's a lot of people that, prefer Mario and they have a nostalgia because Mario Kart was the first one.
I'm very much a Mario person.
But Crash Team Racing was an amazing game. And I had fun getting all the, platinum relics in that game.
We should play that sometime. Or find a way to.
I don't remember where my PlayStation is, but I do still have it, so.
We should play that sometime.
Yeah, it's really fun. Yeah, I hope they do something with Crash. I don't know what to think of the rumors because I've only seen like not a lot of good evidence about it. So I'd have to do more research to like see what they actually were coming out with, but it seems like it's a lot of speculation right now about if they're going to do something. I think they should do something. I actually like Spyro more. I think Spyro should come back in some form. But, I mean, Ratchet and Clank is good. It's also by Insomniac Games. They do Ratchet and Clank, and they did Spyro. Spyro would be cool to do again. I just don't know. It's hard to, like, bring those older games back into, like, today's world. Because, like, there's not a lot of, like, 3D platforming games that come out anymore. Just because gamers' tastes have changed a little bit. But, oh, man. Those original Spyro and Crash Bandicoot games are amazing. Like, I could still play them. They just have, like, the best art and the best worlds and tight controls and, you know, good characters. I think they could do something, maybe. They just would have to approach it the right way, which is probably harder to do, you know, than actually saying, oh, yeah, we can just make it like this. But they'd have to do something different, but still kind of keeping that same feel that they did with the original games. I don't know if open world would make sense. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think of how they could do it, but I'm thinking they could do something. I don't know. Another Crash Team Racing with, like, more tracks and, like, the same kind of gameplay, I think would be amazing.
Would they have to, like, change the way the game looks, too? Because what I remember it was when I was a kid.
Well, they could update the graphics.
Yeah, because it was very, very, boxy,
well,
obviously.
With the new Ratchet and Clank game, that kind of has a cartoony look, but it's, like, almost Pixar quality graphics.
Okay.
They could just do something like that, maybe. Which, I don't know if it would work as much because, like, Ratchet and Clank and Spyro kind of have brighter colors associated with them. And Ratchet and Clank can be a little darker and stuff with how it looks, like the aesthetic of it. So they'd have to kind of find a balance where I think they would keep that same color and stuff. Because, like, when I think of Spyro games, for example, I think of bright colors and, you know, not a lot of complex, like, shapes and stuff and levels. So, I mean, they could probably do something. I'm sure they could.
It'll be interesting.
Just getting it right is the hard part, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think they'd have to add some, like, enough new stuff to kind of make it its own thing. But, like, they have to keep that mechanic of, like, you're collecting stuff, basically. That's what those games are all about.
I liked that. Like, jumping on the
jumping on things.
And all of that. Like, I loved that.
There's nothing greater than, like, jumping on crates in Crash Bandicoot or collecting gems in Spyro.
I love jumping on the crates.
Yeah. So, to answer Ryan's question, well, I guess it's more like my thoughts. I want them to do something with I think with both of those properties, but I'm hoping they do it right because I'm not sure.
That's the hard thing.
Do it.
Is making, because I feel like that's why people
or
get so.
They could, like, release, like, as more toned down version or something and have it be cheaper and, like, put it on, like, PSN store or something.
Or they could remaster it and have, like, the old game and just release the old game after remastering it, making the graphics updated and
they should
stuff.
probably do that anyway, but...
They should. But, like, I feel like, especially, like, with Hollywood as an example, when you remake something or you do something like that, people are super fucking
critical,
protective of their favorite things.
Because, like, this is how I remember it. You can't destroy my vision.
There's a very, very intense nostalgia filter that people have. Yeah. Especially our generation with the 90s.
And now that I think about it, something else like in Spyro, the music, I don't know if that would be appropriate for in games nowadays, even though I liked the Spyro music.
What do you mean? Why wouldn't
It's
it be?
like, so it was done by Stuart Copeland, I think his name is, who I believe was actually a drummer for the Police.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. That's
And it
actually
was
kinda
like a
cool.
weird combination of like playing MIDI type music, but like performance kind of almost sounding.
Huh.
He's like a drummer, so you can hear like that kind of rhythmic influence in the music. But it would sound out of place, I think, in a game coming out nowadays. So maybe they should just like release something like that, but then like have it be a smaller, more like cheaper, smaller game that they could release on PSN Store or something.
Yeah, that might work better.
Do something like that. I don't know.
Also, fun fact, using the Police as a segue, a lot of people don't know this, and I've said it a million times to you. The person who actually owns the copyright to the name Sting is not the lead singer of the Police. It is the wrestler.
Yeah.
The wrestler owns the copyright to the name and the trademark to the name Sting.
Yeah.
So I always thought that was funny because I grew up thinking that the lead singer of the Police held the trademark and copyright to that name, but it was the wrestler that my mom
Maybe
loved
they just
so
need
much.
to do a cage match for the
There's
title.
actually a picture I saw of them together. I was like, oh my god, it's Sting and Sting. It blew my
Sting
mind.
versus Sting. Trust me, that's how they could get people to watch.
They actually had a fake Sting for a while in NWO, and it was fake Sting against the real Sting, and it was WCW.
Not
was
the same thing.
fucked up. It's
Not the same thing.
WCW was very screwed
I
up.
want the singer Sting versus the wrestler
But the wrestler
Sting.
Sting can't wrestle anymore. He officially retired at the Hall of Fame because he has the same thing Edge had, spinal stenosis. And if he wrestles, he'll die.
Play like dominoes against each other or something. I don't know.
They could do something. A riff off with a guitar. I don't know.
Anyway, this is a longer one podcast, I realized, than we did before.
It was fun.
I thought I wasn't going to have enough content, but I just kind of riffed off of stuff.
It was fun. High five.
Let us know if they get too long or if they're too short or whatever.
And if you have questions, tell us. Suggestions,
I try
questions.
to keep them around an hour or so, but obviously this one went on longer. We had more to talk about, and I think we're getting a little more comfortable with the format. I have not done any stuff like this ever before, so that's probably why.
And I'm falling back into my groove. I did radio in college, and
Yeah, and this is, I mean, yeah, I'm new to this stuff, so yeah. Do you think you got anything else we should say? Send questions.
Send
feedback.
suggestions.
We'll try to get some more avenues out. For
Congratulations to Kofi
podcast.
Kingston of the New Day. His baby was born recently, a baby boy.
Little Kofi.
Little Kofi. He
Mini
actually has
Kofi.
he has another son, so he has 2 kids now. Yeah, and another shout out to
It's a new baby, yes it is.
yeah. Another shout out to Marlena and to my little brother, my baby brother Jacob, and sending love to my hometown and the community, and yeah.
All right. That's an episode, everybody.
Bye.
Listen to us next time. Might be in a couple weeks. So, see you then.